Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm back. This is Matt from Vetter Software. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for chiming in. Uh, Actually, surprisingly, a very small turnout today. I thought for a rather important event, but it's all good. This will not take very long. It's a brief office hours, but yet a very important topic. As always, the session is being recorded right now and will be available in the customer community later today. Without further ado, allow me to begin. And what we're going to take a look at today is inventory uses and our latest enhancement, which allows you to create reminders for inventory uses. And when using them, to convey so that an inventory use can create a reminder for a separate item. You didn't used to be able to do that. And this is very important in terms of vaccine series. Okay, so let me go to my inventory here without further ado and show you what I'm talking about. And I'm going to pull up an item. Let's pull up a rabies vaccine. I'm going to pull up, my Novivac rabies vaccine. Okay. So I'm going to peek here really quickly, make sure I have my uses down. Beautiful. So in Vetter, we give you the ability to draw from the same item tray or vaccine tray, right? But yet divide the item or subdivide the item into different items, essentially, so that you can administer them differently to different patients while maintaining one inventory balance. In other words, the Novivac rabies vaccine is the parent. But from this same vaccine tray, we can also dispense a puppy vaccine. It's the same vaccination, essentially. A 1-year rabies, a 3-year rabies, right? What needs you? I mean, whatever you need to do. Now, we accomplish this by using what's called uses. So previously, a year ago or so in Vetter, you used to have to, create separate inventory items. A Novivac 1-year vaccine, a Novivac 3-year vaccine, right? And then you had to essentially manage two separate, you had to manage the inventory, which is difficult because they're pulling from the same tray. Well, about a year or so ago, we added a new feature which is called uses or children, which allow you to subdivide the parent, into its offspring here, for want of a better word. And these items here, they're the only ones that show up on a record. So what do I mean by that? If I jump to, let's say, Santa's Little Helper here, just a simple sample thing. And I go ahead and I come here and I add an item. I add a record. I come down here, a new record, medical record, a new charge. And did I do something wrong? Oh, here we go. And I pause and I put in my vaccine. Notice it's not drawing from the parent. It is just drawing from the children, the 1 or the 3-year, right? Simple as that. And with it come associated actions and what have you. And what this allows me to do, it allows me to draw from the same item without having to manage multiple inventory items, okay? Now, what I'm going through the evolution of how these things worked out. Now, what happened is that, well, we wanted to be able to, what if this were a series? How, if an animal is given a 1-year vaccine, can you now give it reminded for a 3-year vaccine? And it used to be that if I gave a 1-year vaccine to an animal, I'll show you again what I'm talking about here. Let's go back to our Santa's Little Helper. I should have kept that open. And let's say he is, just got on a puppy stage, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a rabies 1-year. It used to be that you couldn't remind them then for the rabies 3-year. And it used to be you had to manually do this, and it was a bit cumbersome. So, for example, if I come here, Novavax 1 year, right? And this creates reminders. That's great, but it was creating reminders for the exact same item. And I come and I hit save, and I'm done, right? And I'll forget the tasks. Don't worry about the tasks right there. And I come here and I take a look here, and notice I have, in my example, the Novavax 1 year vaccine. But wait, I just gave them a 1 year, right? I want to be able to give a 3 year. And what happened was you would have to manually do this. You would manually come here, you'd say view reminders. And I'm going to my Novavax right here. And granted, I have multiple reminders set up in my actions, but I literally would have to come here and go, get rid of it. And then I'd have to manually, delete these reminders because I don't want another 1 year. And I'd have to come here and manually create a new reminder and say, well, I really want to remind for, right, an IMRAB rabies 3 year, okay? And then, okay, it works, but it was another step you had to take, okay? Or consequently, what sometimes people did was they'd come to actions here, and they'd look at the actions and say, oh, look, we have all these multiple reminders set up. That's fine if it's a rabies 3 year, right? The animal lives for another 20 years. But for the rabies 1 year, right, it didn't do a lot of good, right? Because you weren't able to set up reminders separately. Now, some clinics went ahead and they said, hey, if we go ahead and, they would try to use a disable reminder option. So, for example, I have this one right here. They would do they do disable reminder, but that also became cumbersome. So we have the solution now. So, for example, I'm going to get rid of all these little reminders here just so to make it easy for us to see. I'm viewing them, and let me just get rid of these multiple reminders just so we can take a look. Updating the bundles here just to make it easy for us to see. Okay. Let's get rid of some of these tasks. And right here. Okay, perfect. I'll even get rid of disable the reminders. And voila. Okay. So what do we have here? We have an inventory alert item. We have a callback task associated with it. And then these are the default reminders. We also had 1 week after something was due, which is not a bad idea. Right, but I'm going to get rid of all of these right now just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? So now, for example, let's say the patient, you say, hey, when I give an animal a 1 year, I want it to remind it for a 3 year. So I come here and I say, create reminder. When using the Novavax 1 year, or right, you have a choice of 3 year, I want to create a reminder, not just for I don't want to create a reminder for this item. I want to create one for another item. And I'm going to type in, here's the other child, Novavax 3 years. Okay. And right now I have 1 week before it's due. Okay. Now, if I say, for example, hey, this is great, but something this is important when I'm transitioning from a 1 year to a 3 year, maybe I want to include, right, some other reminders. Right. Let's also remind them a month from now or a month prior to it happening. Right. So what happens now is notice what's happening when using the Novavax 1 year, creates a reminder for Novavax 3 year and when it's happening. And now it will send out both of these reminders. And you can add as many multiple layered reminders as you wish. Okay. I'm going to pause right now for any questions. See if that made sense so far. See if there were any questions. Now, for whatever reason, it's really weird. I can't read my chat right now. So if there is a chat question, if you guys could let me know. This is really odd. I can't access my chat. Something odd has happened here. So feel free to unmute yourself and just ask a question if you'd like to. This is just very odd. I cannot access my chat. Huh. Very weird. Okay. It's okay. So you can unmute yourself if you have a question. Now, let's say, for example, this same Novavax vaccine, let's say we also want to include a puppy vaccine in here. And I can just create a new inventory use. And I say, let's say we have to give, puppies get their first vaccine kind of between 12 and 20 months. I'm going to say most journals say 16 months. And the 16 months, right, there's not a next due, right? If I'm a puppy, I get this thing one time, right? Now, if it were a rabies 3-year, I would have a next due of 3 years. But it's not, right? We're just administering it once for a puppy. So now I have this, and I could now do the whole vaccine series. I could come here and say, hey, if there is a 16-month item right here, I want this due, oh shoot, it should be 16 weeks. Sorry, not 16 months. My mistake. Sorry. Let's edit this really quickly. It should be 16 weeks. Pardon me for the error. No problem. We have it updated. Now we come back and let's say we have administered the 16-week vaccine and we want it to create a reminder for another item, the Novavax 1 year. And now, right, what'll happen, it'll send an email 1 week prior type thing. And again, I can layer it and create multiple reminders. But now look at what we've done. We've created the series reminders here. 16 weeks to 1 year, 1 year to 3 year. Now, if I want for that 3 year to have multiple reminders, that's not a problem, right? Because I can also create reminders for the same item. Right here, I'm just creating a reminder for myself, and I say I want to know. I also want, I want to start the process 2 months prior, right? So you can create, notice here, reminders for the same item or for a different one in a series. Now, this is, I think, a critical enhancement to finally automating the entire vaccine series, okay? And before, you could create, now this is most useful within rabies. Now, if I go to let's say a DAPPV, right? And here, for example, let's see what we have here. Let's say this was the final distemper and now you wanted to create a reminder for a separate item, like lepto, which was due like a certain time later. Because in the DAPPV vaccine series, right, they're not always at the same time, not always the same items. And notice here, here we have a 1 and a 3 year use, okay? But here, let's just say I want to create one for a separate lepto after a certain amount of time. I can come to new action, reminder, and I want to create it for another item, right? And I want this to be, let's say, the lepto or what have you. Hey, canine corona or leptovax 4 or what have you, right? And then whatever its reminder is, 1 week prior will be sent out. So I can create, right, reminders for other items that are not in the same category or not a similar use. In other words, this is an entirely separate item. Or I can create it for an inventory use which remains in the same item, right? Like right here. And this is where we're drawing from the same tray. So right now, inventory uses allow you to create, create items where inventory is being drawn from the same tray. And now with actions, I can create reminders for those uses that are in a vaccine series. And this is very easy to use. I hope that all made sense. I apologize again for my chat. I cannot, it's very weird. I cannot access my chat. So if any of you have sent something in, I apologize. I can't can't access it. So feel free to unmute yourself, like I said, and share any questions you may have. But I think this is pretty straightforward and pretty basic here, okay? And like I said, this will be recorded. It is recorded. It will be stored in the customer community. And again, now, the whole key is you can automate your entire vaccine series by creating reminders either for that same item or another inventory use item. That should make the process easier. And this used to be a small gap in our reminder series, but now it's closed. You no longer have to, like I said, you no longer have to go ahead and manually override a reminder or delete it and add one. So hopefully this feature will bring you guys a little less grief and fewer clicks and more free time. Other than that, unless there's any other final questions, and again, unmute yourself because I cannot, whatever reason, read my chat. It will not let me access it. Okay. I wish you guys all a great rest of the day, and the recording will be in the community a little bit later. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye. God, that